What's going on, YouTube? Here I am at my favorite spot in Norway. So today I just want to bring you a quick video on my experience with the 800mm Canon lens. I have the lens hood on it, even though I really don't need it because it is overcast today. But I like to have my lens hoods on because of, to prevent damage, just in case something happens. I'm very clumsy. But anyway, so my experience with this lens, um, I have never had better luck with sharpness and details than I've had with this lens, with any other lens that I've previously owned. And yes, I get it that it is an F11 lens, so you would think that aperture, not allowing that much light to hit the sensor, would kind of hinder your photography, but it actually doesn't. If you know how to use this lens, you can take some amazing looking photos, close-ups of small little details you will not be able to see otherwise. And it is overcast right now, so let me show you my settings that I'm using currently. And I'll probably miss a lot of good shots, but I wanted to share this, just to share this with you guys. Okay, so here we are. So hopefully you guys can see this here. So I got my my shutter speed at 1/100, f11 of course, because this is a prime lens and you cannot go over f11. And I have my ISO set to auto, and currently, so if I go to take a picture right now, my ISO being on automatic will jump to 1000 depending on where I set my frame. So if I go here, it might jump to 800 or 900 or 500 or something like that, something close to that. And being on a tripod, and being that the lens is image stabilized itself, allows me to get those sharp shots that I'm looking for. But another thing too that maybe is not talked about, and because I have seen a lot of videos about this lens for more reputable, bigger channels, pros, and they also give it positive review based on the price. But I think that this lens is not really about the price. And some would say, if you want to get into photography, that this is a good lens to begin with. Now, from owning some L lenses and owning, quite a few nature lenses, I can tell you that this lens is probably not for the beginner. The reason is because if you go out and if you're just starting photography, you want to get to know wildlife photography and such, and you start shooting with this lens, you may not realize some technical details that they're not being told, or maybe you never heard of. For example, just to give you an example, if you want to take amazing shots with this lens, I would recommend, first of all, that you put it on a tripod. Okay. I shoot close to the ground because I do want to get some of the blurrier background. So, but if you put it on a tripod and you shoot at 1/100 or 1/250, around there, this lens will give you some beautiful images. And the reason is because you're shooting at a lower shutter speed, which allows for more light to hit the sensor. And so your ISO doesn't have to be so high in the 3200s or 6400s, where you're going to get a ton of noise. It's better to shoot at a lower shutter speed because you cannot control the aperture. That f11 is not going anywhere. So the only way to control the amount of lighting that is hitting the sensor is to just lower your shutter speed. And by doing that by itself will allow you to get those crystal clear images. So yeah, this has just been my experience. I will post some photos for you guys to see. This is just the photos that I actually took today with this lens, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. It is just simply put an amazing lens. I wouldn't recommend this lens to be for the beginner, because you have to kind of understand your exposure triangle. You know, your how your shutter speed and your aperture work together, to which equals ISO. Really, ISO. I see some people manually adjusting their ISO, but really that's just another thing that you will have to deal with when you're trying to take beautiful photos. Another thing, and by that time your bird is gone. So I'd rather just have it on auto ISO, and it treats me really well. I've never had any regrets or any images that come out of this thing using auto ISO that I regret and say, you know what, I got to stop doing that. It's never happened. In fact, it's given me the exact results that I would want. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend this for the beginner, because you have to understand some basic principles about lighting and how to manipulate this lens, how to use it the right way, so you get those images that you see online. You know what I mean? Like those guys, pros, and getting those sharp images. You need to understand first your camera. You need to understand some basic principles about photography, especially wildlife photography, how to use the lighting outside. Right now it's overcast, so it's perfect for bird photography, for getting those nice close shots. This lens can work pretty well in a bright sunny day, and then you could just crank up your shutter speed and take photos of birds in flight, you know, birds in motion, so you don't, you know, so you can get that, you don't get those blurry images. But that's in a bright sunny day. If you want to, um, in my opinion, if you want to take the best photography, the best shots with this lens, overcast, how you see it right now. um, and then yeah, crank up your, you know, or lower your shutter speed, and you will get those beautiful shots, I believe, at least. So all right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.